how did the left go from supporting anything anti-Trump to possibly committing treason? As after that ICE raid outside Los Angeles County got aggressive, we're now seeing what appears to be LA gangbangers facing off with US Marines at the federal building and surrounding who they think are the feds. With reposts stating, "This is how we treat Nazis in America. They tried to kidnap people in Los Angeles and got their butts handed to them by patriots." Only for ICE to reply, "That was your local sheriff's department, nothing to do with immigration enforcement." So does Los Angeles Mayor Karen denounce this? No, she's working on handing out cash cards to immigrants that need to hide from ICE.
We also are going to have a reinstitution of the Angelino card, something that Mayor Garcetti started during COVID that will actually provide cash assistance to people. Because, you have people who don't want to leave their homes, who are not going to work, and they are in need of cash. We're organizing food deliveries. I mean, there's all sorts of things that we are having to do now to protect people from the federal government.
Which is insane to start handing out hundreds of dollars to individuals, as I have no idea how they could verify or even track this, already on top of her billion-dollar budget deficit. But what's worse is who she's having distribute the funds.
But number two, if we say that if you're too afraid to go to work, you get free cash payments, I think that all of a sudden we're going to find there are a lot more people who are suddenly too afraid to go into work. But the real kicker in all this is that Karen Bass has chosen, of all groups, Sherla to distribute the card.
As she's been seen alongside this Sherla group, where I only know about them when those guys that attacked the feds in Van Nuys with an improvised spike strip were found carrying a bag from that same Sherla group. And even far-left Reddit is calling out these cash cards, with the top comment saying Sherla receives nearly $34 million from the state of California, as it's still taxpayer dollars that someone else gets to skim off the top first. But as Tim Pool suggests, this may actually be treason.
On this show, I often refrain and I argue as hard as possible that people are not committing treason. They say, "Oh, that Democrat did this or that lawyer committed treason." And I'm like, no, treason is adhering to the enemies of the United States. What most people are referring to with like Comey and these investigations is sedition. Mayor Karen Bass has announced that she will be partnering with private individuals to give money to illegal immigrants that are here illegally and that are currently trying to evade federal law enforcement. Now, Trump has already declared an invasion. He has targeted these marijuana farms. Strong likelihood that there is an overlap between these narco gangs, these cartels, and now we're hearing Karen Bass says she's going to give them cash, quite literally to the letter of the law. That is treason.
And he's not wrong, as Tim cited the US Code for treason, since a US mayor should owe allegiance to America, but is now giving its enemies aid and comfort within the US.
There's a good chance I may have committed some light treason.
Now, normally you wouldn't see a president imprison a mayor, but you also don't normally have mayors dishing out taxpayer dollars to criminals hiding from federal law enforcement, as Mayor Karen is just under the impression that Trump is too scared to go after her, as she flaunts funneling my money to people that say they're too scared to go to work. And what's worse is she's just activating an old cash assistance program that during the lockdowns would give non-citizens $600 cash, as that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of taxpayer-funded benefits. So if it takes sending a mayor to prison to finally stop this nonsense, I'm all for it, as she's out there signing executive orders to stop Trump's deportations. But got blasted in the replies for ignoring what's really destroying the city, doing more to protect non-citizens than actual citizens, and "Stop making me cheer for the feds, you lunatic." And I find that funny because it's true. Just 2 years ago, none of these people would be cheering on the feds, but the left has gone so far off the rails that Americans are basically begging for martial law just to get a semblance of safety. As remember, Bass is only signing these orders after her city was raided, where Trump sent in the feds on horseback to clean up MacArthur Park from its signature suffering. But now, Mayor Karen is claiming she's fixed homelessness.
When I was on my way over here, I got a text message from our governor congratulating Los Angeles for moving the needle forward.
For the second year in a row, homelessness has decreased in Los Angeles, according to LA Mayor Karen Bass.
Is reducing homelessness by having people in motels still very expensive, and do we need to look for more cost-effective ways? Yes, but all of this are step forward.
Conveniently ignoring how they juke the stats.
But John Alley, co-founder of the Santa Monica Coalition, was part of the street count in Echo Park this year. He says he doesn't fully trust the numbers.
They started early and they ended by 12 midnight. They reduced the number of volunteers. They weren't allowed to go up to RVs. They weren't allowed to go into garages. So how many did they miss? It's like crime not being reported.
It's exactly how they claim crime is down, where I have personally seen how LAPD breaks up a single violent felony into 2 smaller misdemeanors on separate police reports for a single incident, or even when a friend's vehicle was totaled in a collision from an illegal immigrant and the responding officer refused to take the report, let alone arrest them. But the scariest part about this victory she's claiming regarding homelessness is how Kevin Dalton points out it's about a decrease of 1,500 homeless individuals, but 2,500 of them lost their lives on the streets, which is actually on track with the LA Times reporting. So even if Karen's count was correct, including the deaths, homelessness is only getting worse, meaning they're still failing at their jobs even when they cheat the numbers. And this isn't even including the homes lost in the wildfires they made worse, as up until today, Altadena still lays destroyed. The Pacific Palisades has almost zero construction, and even Adam Carolla shows us how Malibu hasn't even started to rebuild. But here comes the New York Times blaming the delays on the ICE raids, once again reminding us, no matter how much you think you hate the corporate mainstream media, you don't hate them enough. As what? The Pacific Palisades fire that started on January 7th and the first ICE raid in Los Angeles occurred 6 months later on June 6th? So the New York Times expects us to believe that as of January 25th, when Mayor Karen was lying to Trump's face about cutting all the red tape to allow the residents to immediately rebuild, she conveniently held off for over 4 months, and only then was the reconstruction of Los Angeles stopped because of Trump's enforcement of federal law. But the only thing that can save the city is if we load cash cards so people don't have to go to work. It only sounds stupid if you think about it, and unfortunately I don't believe their voters are doing much thinking. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, subscribe to Decoy Voice.